What's up, y'all? It's Knowledge. Welcome to Brews and Reviews. And today I'm reviewing Conway the Machine and Method Man's Lemon. And I am sipping on a Mama's Little Yellow Pills. That's a Pilsner from Oskar Brewery in Austin, Texas. One of my favorite breweries. And this beer is coming in at 4.7%. And hey, this song is lemon. This is yellow. You know I'm not going to drink a lemon shandy, so I'm drinking this, which is the next best thing. Conway the Machine and METHOD, man. This is a collaboration that we needed, and that's one of the best things about Griselda is their collaborations. They work with the most diverse artists and artists that you wouldn't expect for them to come with, even though this is a collaboration that seems like it's a match made in heaven because it's the New York grime thing that they have going on. One New York grime coming from the 90s and the other New York grime coming from the 2020s, but it's still fitting. Conway is my favorite from Griselda this year. While I'm digging the Benny Black Soprano family joint that just dropped, and I'm digging Westside Gunn's projects from this year, especially Pray for Paris. That was a good album. I am very excited about Conway's next project because he's been very consistent this year with No One Mourns the Wicked and Lulu, and his guest spot on Alfredo was the best guest appearance in my opinion. There's nice respect for the Wu on the cover too. That yellow background with the killer bees flying around and the upside down W that Meth has always used for his M symbol to transpose over Conway's face. Production is very fitting on this. Griselda, Daringer and Beat Butcha create some very dark beats that fit these artists that always go with dark beats. Conway for sure over this Griselda type beat, and Method Man that always goes with the grime. Even though it's somewhat of a different feel of grime, it's very fitting for him on this. As we hear the deep and ominous bass that is a Griselda trademark, along with some chopped up vocal samples that may have been fitting on something like Tikal. Conway starts as we would expect. He's in the kitchen, he's getting ready to work hard, and this made a connection for me, and something that I didn't quite realize in previous Griselda tracks is I believe it. I believe that these dudes were successful drug dealers because if you look at their grind and what they're doing in music and how hard they're working with music, if they were working just that hard on the streets, then they probably were successful. So everything that they're talking about in their lyrics is not just cap. It's real shit that they experience. That hustling approach that they have to music doesn't just come out of nowhere. And here's why I like and respect Conway and say that he's my favorite from Griselda for the year, because he doesn't just spit the grimy shit talking about the gang life, but he puts some extra perspective to it, which you can see in his line where he's talking about his dog being locked up for murder, and he hits us with something reflective about that. He says, thought about it. His kids was young when son got time. Won't see his daughter graduate, can't teach his son how to drive. Conway's talking about the hustle, but he also makes you think. The beat also slows down here to emphasize not only Conway's bars, but also how his dude's life has been put on pause. More introspective thoughts continue at the end of Conway's verse, where he quotes Flea Lord, and he says, Flea says, you leave them knots in your chest, they gon' turn to cancer then. In other words, he's saying, don't let it slide, you gotta handle it. So he's doing the same thing that I'm doing here, deconstructing other people's rhymes and what they mean to him personally. And he's saying basically that you got to deal with your shit. The chorus is a chorus that would only work for Griselda. And this is somewhat sing-songy and somewhat off-key. Something similar to that we heard from Ghostface Killah way in the past. So it's fitting that we would have a Wu guest spot on this, because this is the only other MC that from the past could sing off key and still make it work, and Conway is doing exactly that on this chorus. And really, it doesn't matter what the aesthetic of the chorus is, because when you have a grimy beat like this from a grimy artist like Conway and a grimy guest spot from one of the grimiest to ever do it, Method Man, then that's all that matters is these bars that these dudes are about to spit. And from his first lines, he doesn't disappoint. We can hear that Meth, at damn near 50, has not skipped a beat with his flow. He sounds just like he did in his 20s with that unique cadence, and he has one of the most distinctive voices in the game since the 90s, still does, and one of the most distinct flows out there. While some of his albums didn't come to their full potential, I really feel that Meth's strength is in his guest spots. There's nothing better than a Method Man guest appearance verse. That's when he goes the strongest. And don't forget his trademark wordplay, which we can hear on the line, "It's Con and Meth, spread the word, boy, you seein' them. No seeing them, these rappers in the scope, you'll never seeing them." He's saying they're gunning for these other rappers, they're coming strong for these other rappers, but also he pronounces in the scope like inner scope, and you're never seeing them like you're never seeing Eminem, Shady Records that's put out by Interscope. Meth keeps the same rhyme scheme throughout his entire 24 bars, rhyming with the same sound at the end of every line, and he still does not skimp on the wordplay when he says things like, "In addition, if you miss an MC, sign this petition. Get a fraction of that faction subtracted by my division." Dude still has it, hitting us with that mathematical rhyme. This is a perfect track to whet the appetite for Conway's From King to a God, and it makes me think we need to hear more Wu-Tang and Griselda collaborations. I'd love to hear a whole album like that, particularly with Ghostface, something like Wu Block. Give me Wu Grizz. I want to hear Wu Grizz. Thank you for watching my review of Lemon by Conway the Machine and Method Man. If you liked this review, go ahead and hit like down below. If you didn't, tell me why in the comments. You can subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more hip-hop and hops related content. The links popping up to my left and to my right are some other videos that you can check out right now. And until I see you next time, keep buzzing.